that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
We're losing our democracy!
More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Wake up!
Before we get into that, let's get into this. All right. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Liberty Bowl. That was actually an experiment. Of course, I played our old intro there, but the whole reason for that was because I did that last week as well, too. And then there was a bit of a gap because with the Rumble Studio and everything, it's sometimes difficult to get the clips to actually play, properly with, in time and everything. So they start out kind of skippy and jumpy. And then last time when I was watching the playback, we were both just kind of sitting there for like a good 20, 30 seconds or so. So this time I kind of played the intro song in my head. And then once it was done, I went ahead and stopped it, even though it was still technically playing on the screen for us, just to see if it kind of lines up better. But either way, welcome to the Liberty Bowl, everybody. It is, of course, Live Stream Friday. As we do every Friday here, we come together, we talk about the latest happenings in politics, in the MAGA movement, the fall of Western civilization, and the rebirth of what is looking to be a new multipolar nationalist world order. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Liberty Swine. How you doing this week, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself, bro?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Can't
Yeah.
complain.
Can't complain at all either. And Dabu already in the comments. Dude, what's good, bro? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping.
How's it going?
In.
Welcome to the show, sir. Dabu, of course, is one of our very first viewers from like back when we first uploaded our first couple of little videos and stuff. So yeah, long time viewer. Welcome to the show, Dabu. Of course, this week Trump gave an epic speech to the joint bodies of Congress, and it was quite epic. It was about 2 hours long. There's a whole bunch of clips, a whole bunch of different moments. Donald Trump did get pretty epic. It did rile up a lot of the base. It really did kind of bring home what Donald Trump is doing here. And of course, it exposed the Democrats for who they actually are. The ridiculous just identity politics, the cult mindset that this party has developed. It really had that on full display as the Democrats completely went apeshit. Not necessarily. I mean, Al Green went apeshit, but that's just kind of in his nature. But the Democrats, they would not clap for anything. And Donald Trump had some pretty epic moments where he even pointed out that there's nothing I can do that they will clap for. And then he goes and he brings the kid with brain cancer, of course, DJ Daniel. Epic heartwarming moment. I mean, you're not human if that moment didn't pull on your heartstrings, where he basically makes him an honorary member of the Secret Service. And the Democrats, that's their expression the whole times. You son of a bitch.
Right. Battle signs and shit.
Right. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. But a whole bunch of other stuff. Of course, the Democrats have been melting down. Of course, as we kind of alluded to, Al Green was removed from the speech as he was acting all kind of fool and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And the sergeant at arms was called, and they had to remove him. He was then censured this week, and the Democrats again acted in similar fashion, immediately resorting to fleeing their own feces around the chamber of Congress. Nobody knows why. It's just I guess instinctual recurrences coming back to them, I suppose.
They're not Democrats. They're the left.
Right. They are the left. Speaking of the left, Gavin Newsom has a new podcast as the Democrats try to, I guess, not change their direction, not change the stuff that they're trying to do, but they're trying to change their outlets, right? So they're trying to, do they got. I don't know if they just said fuck it. Maybe some of the fucking younger generation will actually enjoy the concept of a hive mind and the concept of total top down government control and propaganda. Maybe they like it, and they all just started putting out verbatim, word for word scripted videos. Very, very weird, very odd. But if that's what they think the kids are into these days, I suppose go for it. It's doing us wonders. Yeah, so the Democrats' future not looking so great. America's future is not looking so great as the Supreme Court has basically denied a request by the Trump administration to cancel $2 billion worth of foreign AID, right? So of course this was struck down by a lower, or the cancellation was basically I guess struck down or challenged or something by a lower federal court. It was then challenged up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court basically said we ain't having nothing to do with this. Or basically they basically said that don't worry, pay it now, and then afterward we'll figure out, like, the dumbest ruling ever. But we're gonna be talking about that, and then Zelensky. He apologized to Donald Trump. See, I realized the error of my ways, and I am now apologizing to the United States. And I ask you again for more monies. So, yeah, definitely good times, man. So what do you think of the Trump speech?
Like we were saying beforehand, man, it's the usual as far as it's pretty extended, but it was good. Some cheerleading, some gloating, also making some things that we obviously have been talking about for quite a while, like putting it out there for the first time right in their face. That was good. And of course, the leftist meltdown was across the board. I mean, Al Green, obviously, like you said, the worst of the bunch, but they couldn't even bring themselves to cheer, a 13-year-old brain cancer survivor. The only thing that they did cheer, of course, was Ukraine funding, because
Right.
they hate America. I mean, there's no other way to put that. They can't cheer for anything that's good for us or good for the country. It's good for foreign nations. It's definitely the thing to party on, man. But of course, and then you had the other ones walking out, Ratchet ass Crockett and them. They staged we're streaming out.
Right.
Here's this. I mean, it was just a whole shenanigan show. But seeing Republican actually use a little bit of muscle as far as having Al Green physically removed. You like to see that, right? Because if it was the other way around, I mean, you remember when what was it? Taylor Greene, man, when she was running her mouth when Biden was given the
Right.
State of the Union, it was a whole big thing. Like, should she be censored and ultimately thrown out of Congress and all this shit, right? I mean, they
Right.
were pressing for that movement. So, of course, if they didn't have a double standard, they'd have no standards at all. And what else can you say?
Right. I actually remember the thing. There's actually been a couple things with Marjorie Taylor Greene. You remember the whole weirdo argument match that she got into with Jasmine Crockett about whose eyelashes are real and shit like that? Like, dude, there's been a couple really cringe moments with Marjorie Taylor Greene, but apparently with this whole thing with Al Green has worked in our favor. Of course, the polls have been showing that like, yeah, they're everyone's really, they're sick of Democrats. Democrats are, as we talked about, several times before, they're dying. Like their entire administration is dying. Everything that they'd worked to build, to subvert the will of the American people is being dismantled, and the veils being pulled down, and people seeing them for what they truly are. And it's absolutely destroying them. And it's pretty insane to actually watch the I guess the dying death throes of a corrupt party.
Rasses for fucking from inception, man.
Right.
I mean,
Right. From the jump.
yeah.
Yep. Fucking yeah. The thing I always like to point out is fucking what is it? Andrew Jackson, the founder of the Democrat Party. His fucking whole claim to fame. Well, I mean, he has a whole bunch of other things too. But it was a Jacksonian democracy, right? Where we shouldn't just limit the who gets to vote to the wealthy landowners, right? We should limit it to fuck, what was it? Uh, white males, basically. Yeah, that's what it was. And they changed it from wealthy landowners to white males. And the whole reason for that, or at least what it resulted in, was exclusion of not white males, even though they're still capable of owning land. Either way, I digress. But yeah, the Democrats, they truly got exposed for what they are. I'm seeing if I could pull up a couple of these clips here. I think I have the Al Green censure, or not the censure, the
outburst.
Yeah.
Yeah, and during the censure, you seen that the Democrats are in the chambers fucking singing, and what happened afterwards? Fucking Mike Johnson, cucks.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh man,
he shut her down. I mean, he kept the censure, of course. That's still going to go through.
Okay.
But as far as he shut down the session because they wouldn't shut up. I mean, ultimately, it should have been
right. Just in
everyone's catching cases, dude.
Right. Locking up all you bitches.
Yeah.
King Kong ain't got
interruption
shit
of official proceeding, right?
Yep. Putting cases on all them bitches.
All right, what's good for the gooses, dude?
Take your seat, sir.
Devolve.
Right. Shit, speaking of devolved, here's Al
Take
Green.
your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the sergeant at arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
Go now. Get.
With your fake ass cane.
It's probably a sword. He out here pimping.
Right.
Pimping the strap.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So yeah, that was of course Al Green, otherwise known as the guy that worked for Geico in those commercials, getting removed from the House chambers right there. And of course it was because he was getting up there acting a fool. I don't believe, it didn't have the whole part leading up to it where basically he's just out there standing waving his cane like Grandpa Simpson.
There's no mandate.
Right, yelling, "There's no mandate for Medicare," like, because of course that's their war cry, right? Is Medicare. Even though Donald Trump has said time and time again he's not going after Medicare, he's not going after Social Security, they'll scream it, to the high heavens, right? At the same time, it's I understand the logic that some people will go with. Well, a lot of people say that they're not doing a lot of stuff, and then they end up doing it, right? Democrats, I would say all the time that they're not coming for your guns, and then they pass all these fucking sweeping gun grabs and shit, So of course, I understand that logic, but at the same time, all of the things that Donald Trump has promised, he is working tirelessly day and night to actually accomplish. He's not, being one of the regular politicians where basically he promises the world, says that he's not going to do these certain things, doesn't deliver on those promises, and then still does the things that he said he wasn't going to do. That's how a regular politician operates. That's not how Donald Trump's at least appearing to operate during this second term as president. He's full on balls to the wall, go, go, go. He doesn't have time to fuck with your little Medicare shit, right? Yeah, that's what Doge is for.
But dude, that this is absolutely a mandate, right? I mean, 86% of counties moved right. Man, he won the popular vote, the electoral college massively. All demographics across board, dude, increased. I mean, that's an obvious mandate. He's got fucking both chambers, man. I mean, obviously, will we hold the Supreme Court to an extent? You don't even want to say that because of one of the topics, right? But This foot says, please check out the Elon Musk fail Apple podcast.
Well, if you guys want
Elon
to check
Musk
that out,
fail.
I guess go ahead and check it out. Yeah, thanks for the comment. Either way, but yeah, I mean, I'm seeing if I could pull up some more of these videos here. Let me see if I could pull up the censure. Oh wait, here it is. No, that's just a picture of it. Sorry. Alrighty, and get ready for some more Democrat madness. We're not going to go in any sort of linear order with any of the topics tonight. We're just going to kind of free flow wherever they happen to go, because a lot of the stuff that's really going on this entire week had to either do with the Trump speech, the SCOTUS ruling, and of course Zelensky, and then of course the meltdown of the Democrats. You could kind of break it down to all that. So we're just going to kind of meld all of that into one pot. That's going to be tonight's show. Speaking of the Democrat meltdown, here we go.
On this vote, the yeas are 224, the nays are 198, with 2 answering present. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The House will come to order. The House will come to order. Shh. Will Representative Green present himself to the well? By its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured, that Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
Ridiculous.
Deep in
man.
my heart.
The House will come to order. The House will come to order. What's it?
Just think, the South Park cats thought it would take 500 years to get
The House will come to order. Clear the well, please. Clear the well. The House has to continue its business.
They're a bunch of idiots, man.
Just say the House is emergency.
I mean, obviously, this is due to not having anything. I mean, they have nothing. There's no leadership. You know what I mean? No cohesive message. Nothing to rally around. So they're going to act
Sure.
like it's 1958 or whatever, and
They're
we're fighting
listless
for
vestals,
civil
man.
rights. Is this what?
Right? They're acting like they're just kind of acting like a bunch of kids, I guess. Like they have like the mentality of like what a child would do. Like an adult, obviously, as we see with Donald Trump and with the MAGA movement, and with what Republicans have been trying to do. A regular adult would sit back, twiddle his thumbs, thinking in his mind how I'm going to destroy you. That's what an adult would do. These guys, they sit here and fucking like, I got it, you guys. We'll all lock arms together. We'll sing songs, and then our heart powers will come out, and they will shine upon them, and then they will know that they messed with the wrong party. That's seriously the solutions that they're offering at this point. Like they've completely lost their minds. Like they've reverted back to almost like like I say, childlike mentality in a lot of this stuff. Like I said, again, I get it. I get the whole peace and love movement and all that stuff, and the civil disobedience of the 60s and civil rights movements and all that stuff, which it seems to a lot of these people are kind of layovers from that time period. I think Al Green said that he was actually that's actually the time period he's from. I'm not sure about that. I don't know how old he is. Maybe if it was, he was back when he was a real young lad growing up in the hood, but either way, that's over with. Like that was back then, like, I mean, nowadays you just look ridiculous. Nowadays you're what the kids call cringe. right?
Right.
Yeah,
And not to mention, dude, like you're saying, like the peace and love movement and shit. I mean, obviously, this is not that. I mean, these people are, trying to pressure and break deals, to declare peace, like with Ukraine, for instance. I mean, they want that shit to keep going. You know what
right.
I'm saying? I mean, this is the pro-war party, and they get the more, they've gotten more donations from people that work at the Pentagon, the DoD, shit like that, than the Republicans have. And I know that that's the old adage, right? It's Republicans, they're the worst parties, but I mean, we see the difference. I mean, every time there's been a Democrat president, we've been bombing multiple countries and whatnot.
Right. I mean, of course, one person that we know is definitely pro war on the Democrat side is one Pocahontas.
That's a fucking slur, dude.
Right. We're getting banned, man. Freaking YouTube's kicking us off. Whoops. All right, you guys. Can I see you guys got the YouTube logo over there on the chat? Make sure you guys move it on over to Rumble because YouTube sucks and they don't like us very much. I'm trying to see if I could find the there we go. There we go. That's the clip I'm looking for.
With no end in sight, the United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything.
There's the Democrats cheering.
Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
The dude's a fucking master, man. Like troll master.
2,000 people are being killed every single week.
Right? That reminds me of
shaking with rage and shit while she's clapping.
Now that reminds me of course the Joe Biden State of the Union address where they were talking about the burn pits and you could smell the bodies burning and Nancy Pelosi just over there like
right.
Let's talk more about that.
She's warming her hands by the fire, dude.
Yeah, and then this one, I mean, Donald Trump, in essence, calls her straight to her face, a corrupt warmonger, and she's like, "You got that right. You got that right." Like, yep. It's that's the Democrats for you, man. That's the party that they've become. They're the big tent to anybody who's willing to fucking pay them money. Right, that's their big tent nowadays. It used to be fucking, their whole slogan was, "Oh, we're the big tent party. We bring in the blacks, the gays, the Mexicans, the Asians. Anybody that's disenfranchised and wants to come together with the power of the people. That's the Democrats." Now, I mean, they have the same policy. It's just for money. It's not necessarily for for who needs help anymore. That's what they used to be about. But I also find it funny in reality the whole Al Green censure thing. It's really a glorified. You could probably make a skit. If we were like Crowder or something like that. Like it's like, okay, Al Green, come to the stand. It's like your official wrist slapping is now commencing. Let it be known, the official slap on the wrist has been given to Al Green. This meeting is adjourned. Like that's
right.
That's
but
really...
the only thing that goes with it, I mean, obviously no kind of charges or obviously they have no arrest power, but they usually you're censured, like you get removed from committees and whatnot. You have a more rough time for trying to raise funds but that's all that dude's doing by doing that shit. He's just trying to get reelected, for
right.
For however many fucking umpteenth time,
Yep. What was this? I think I saw somewhere he's been in Congress since like 2004 or some shit like that. Like 20
months. Over 20 years, a long time, man. That's a long ass time.
Yep, that should be illegal.
Right. I know not, in comparison to some, other members, like Feinstein comes to mind, or
Pelosi.
Pelosi, yeah. But still, I mean, 20 years, that's too fucking long, man.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, unless you're 25 when you get there, then then you could see it. But after you
Right.
get late 60s, 70s, 80s, like, nah, man, you guys to go, bro. You'd be considered unemployable in any other field. You know what I mean? Besides like a Walmart greeter or a fucking
Right.
cashier at McD's or something.
Right. But no, you're still totally good to make decisions that, deal with the fate of the world.
Yeah, that's
You're
when
good for that.
Yeah, that's when you get the old Robinets of the world, doc.
Right. If you worked at Walmart, you'd be right there giving stickers to little kids as their parents, push them out the door in the cart and stuff.
Right.
But if you work in government, we're putting you right there, fucking Speaker of the House.
Mhm.
Yep. I think a lot of that is too by design. Not necessarily just like the way that our system's designed and stuff like that. I think a lot of it is by design because, of course, stuff like Joe Biden, all the corruption Joe Biden did, even if it does come fully to light, the fuck we gonna do to it? Like, I don't give a fuck,
Right.
you guys. I'm fucking dead in like 5 years. Like, what the fuck you guys gonna do to me? Like, yeah, I took your money, motherfuckers.
Hey,
I
I think you're getting side gigs like we know with him, with like China and Ukraine, shit like that for so many years,
right.
kickbacks
Some
and whatnot.
paintings.
You're not, yeah, you're just gonna keep the grift going as long as possible. Yeah, the paintings that now aren't selling. It's crazy. They were selling so well, dude, when Bidens was in office, but now he's, in the graveyard or whatever, and they can't sell a painting, man.
Right. You got to think.
Wonder-
I mean,
wonder what happened.
scarcity just went up on those too. Remember that some of those burnt up in the LA wildfires recently.
Right.
I mean, scarcity on the original Hunter Bidens.
Yeah, they're like
Just
Bitcoins now, man.
skyrocketed. Right. Oh man. Yeah, dude, absolutely ridiculous. But we're starting to see a lot of people, in the general sphere of society, as well as in the Democrat Party, come to their senses. Of course, there was 10 Democrats that voted for the censure of Al Green as well, too. Which is, like I say, kind
That's an existential crisis, though, bro.
of right. That's true. Yeah.
But
Go
you've
ahead.
seen a lot of them double down as well. The ones that are starting to gain face or have future plans, you know what I mean? Like AOC, of course, she was there, she walked out, you know what I mean? Had to make a show with fucking Crockett and several other ones, and Crockett the biggest one, before, during, after she left or whatever, then she immediately started making TikTok videos, and that chick definitely gets absolutely nothing done, dog. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's just running a fucking
This is
trap.
what your tax
dude, or-
dollars are going toward.
Yeah, running trap and TikTok videos.
Right, this is what your tax dollars are paying for, you guys.
That's definitely not the music.
Right. I know. It's fucking awesome though. It works out perfect. Let's see if I can find the actual one. Yeah, looks like somebody commenting to it. No, it's still funny though. Even the second
it's
time, it's
legit.
still funny. Right. But either way, she made some fucking stupid little video where she does a lip sync to fucking Kendrick Lamar or some shit like
Right.
that. But
Scroll back up there,
Either-
the one where she's the thumbnail where she's like, and it's still shot of wearing like pink, like a mauve or something. Go up a little more right there, man. Past it,
this one or not?
back down.
That one?
Yeah, left bottom corner. Yep. That one right there is
Absolutely.
a
First of all, it's good to
resurfaced.
see you in the new year. No one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up when there was a need. Listen, he up there, he's spewing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't, But when she
Now,
called me and said, I
which
think
one's
it's
the real
time for
one,
me to
right? And you got to
retire,
remember,
and
this
you're the
chick
one that
went
I
to private
believe
school,
should take
some
the
of the most
seat.
exclusive,
I really was kind of caught off
private
guard.
schools in the
I didn't
country that
anticipate that.
produced a lot of famous
If anyone
people and
knows
high up
anything about the
people and
Congress
whatnot.
woman, they know we showed up. And if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense. So please give some love. This took a little bit of coordinating to do for sure. We got some cool shirts. You know, the congressional seat is over 4 times as large as my House seat. And I was just starting to get into the rhythm of doing constituent services and things like that.
Trying to appeal
got
to
trouble.
the young moronic Democrat voters, man.
Right. Do you think she's on the same plan as AOC, or do you think she got in some different sort of way by any sort of merit whatsoever?
I think she just, is a go ahead and move the gravy train situation, dude. She does have a lot of degree, so I believe that she's probably smarter than AOC, although they compete daily for, dumbest members of Congress. But she's cashed in. I mean, she's only been, there, a short while and has already, you know, massively, exorbitantly increased her personal wealth. And I think she came in worth, like close to $1 million and now like 13. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In just, in no time, like a couple years. That's pretty drastic.
Chaos.
Right.
So I think she found the
ridiculous, man.
character that fits her, that she's typecast for, and she's going to run with it, dude, as long as possible, like all of them do.
Right. That's what they do, man. That's why their closest and most important industry is the media and Hollywood. They're all fucking actors. It's all a show. They're all marionettes, and it's just the people up top pulling their strings. The Epsteins and the motherfucking fuck, I can't remember the other guy. His son just took over. Fucking you know what I'm talking about.
Soros,
The other
yep.
Soros, yeah. It's all those guys and the fucking World Economic Forum people, and yeah. So all these guys, they're just a face. They just need to find their character and they're good to go. There you go. Fucking, you got a lifelong career. Fucking millions of dollars in the bank. Like, you don't even need to put out movies. You need to put out press conferences.
Right. She owns multiple, $1 million homes, and she's definitely, like I said, massively increased her personal wealth. And what's even worse is the comments in the actual videos posted on TikTok. It's they're all like, "You're so hot, girl. You fire, girl." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
Crockett 2028. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people, man?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to wonder, is that bots or?
Yeah, I don't know. I do think there are people out there that are that fucking brainwashed, man.
Right, you're like,
Like,
absolutely not. No, it's stage 5 fucking
yeah,
mediocrity, bro.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, dude, like this shit was by design, man. Like MK Ultra style and shit. Fucking the fluoride in the water and shit. It's just, some people were more susceptible than others. Luckily, people on our side, we
Fucking
were
lead paint, man.
we were immune to the virus, bro. soon as patient zero fucking took hold, it was all downhill from there. Luckily, there were a select few that were immune to the virus. We call them daywalkers.
Right.
Right. But oh man. Anyway, this person seems to have the same hope for Jasmine Crockett in 2028. At least from our perspective. Democrats, please run Jasmine Crockett for president in 2028. Yeah, because of course, dude, like I said, I said on the last, live stream, as long as MAGA succeeds, dude, we're unstoppable. The Democrats need to completely re-image themselves, like complete new everything. They need to start from the fucking ground up again. Their entire temple has been destroyed at this point. So,
What
yeah.
sucks though? It makes you feel for the future though, bro. Because like this is like the younger generation of Democrat right here. Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and they're really. I mean, AOC. Granted, there's been a few times she's gotten heckled, right? But for the most part, they're people that you hear even on the right, like these are future aspects of the party, and then them coupled with these younger activist judges across the country, like it makes you fear for the future for real. I mean, because she plays the part a hell of a lot better than, like, say, Kamala Harris. And
Right.
while, like I just said, like it's an obvious mandate as far as Trump is concerned, like the left loves to point out, like he only won the popular vote by 1 point whatever percent, the smallest percentage, and you know this if it was a chick like this that fits the part better, plays the part better, and other Democrats want to sleep with, she could
Right.
probably score a little higher, I think.
Yep. Up, it's also I guess based on how flexible they really are. Like people that are spouting stuff like Ilhan Omar and stuff like that. I think probably they'll get re-elected just because of how the demographics of their districts and stuff like that. But as far as their influence within the party, I think it might start to die down. Like I said, we're starting to see a bit of a sway, at least in a lot of Democrats that are like, "You guys, we've gone off the deep end. We got to go back to a point of sanity." And I think there's going to be a lot more of a pull toward that direction, because at least we're seeing that in the country. Based off of the last election, Donald Trump took every swing state. Took all of them. Basically, took the whole fucking shebang. Mandate everything. So based off of that data and information, I'm pretty sure that the higher up people are going to be trying to focus more on trying to get more people that are more I guess quick on their feet and personable. They probably want to nail down some sort of a agenda that they're all going for, rather than how they were, which was basically just fuck it. If you have any sort of cause, throw it in the blender. We'll fucking go out and pick it for it. I think they're going to try and refine themselves just a little bit more. And I think a lot of the more extreme leftists are probably going to end up on the fringe of the Democrat Party. It's simply, like I say, not out of any sort of come to sanity, but simply as out of a point of necessity, as out of a point of, if they don't, they're dead as a party, just because the nation, they're, most of the people out there are done with this. This stuff is a joke to everybody,
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but like the next one we're gonna hit up on the Newsom stuff, right?
I actually wrote that down. That's kind of why I touched on that. But
Yeah, because that's what I wanted to go into with my reply to what you were just saying, kind of, man. Because like I said, I fear that it's not to that point as far as the party's concerned. I think the older school ones are the ones that get laughed at, and like you said, they're cringe with their songs and little performances and stuff. But when they try to moderate, the example being this first episode of Newsom, having Charlie Kirk on the first episode. I don't think that was fucking wise at all if he actually wanted to get it off the ground, but you could see where he was he's trying, the whole goal is to at least moderate Newsom for, the 2028 run. And by him backtracking on the not wanting to have males and female sports and whatnot, that dude's being flamed by the left all over the fucking inner zones, including the AP and everything. You know what I mean?
right.
So it's like, and then you hear all these other cats talk, and even Jasmine Crockett again on CNN, other congressional members and, leftist talking heads. It's not like we need to change, even out of necessity. We need to change the messaging. People just don't understand. In other words, you're too fucking stupid to understand how letting us implement complete clown world shit and blowing money endlessly is good for you. You know what I mean? So we just need to change the way we're describing it to you, and then we could still continue to do that clown world shit. You know what I mean?
Right. But like I said, I don't think that their actual agenda or anything that they're actually going for, because nonetheless, I don't think that their agenda is like, we really, really need men and women's sports. Their agenda is destroy, so that way you can control. That's basically their entire formula. Destroy the system, so that way you could rebuild it with yourself at the top. That's how we do things. So ultimately, I think that mentality is always going to stay. But I think basically what this shows, though, is it's a crack in the dam. It's Democrats were the first ones to flinch. That was a flinch right there. That was fucking Gavin Newsom, a high-ranking member within the Democrat Party, and which again, the whole thing with Gavin Newsom starting a podcast is one of the things that the Democrats have noticed that they're lacking in is authenticity. So at least this gives them some sort of, I guess, like feelers to get out there. Because don't get me wrong, I mean, Gavin Newsom's a fucking scumbag, but the dude can fucking talk his way out of anything. Like the dude could, he can bullshit his way out of fucking just about anything. And even, even if he doesn't actually make any sort of points, even if he doesn't actually win, he can bullshit his way out of anything. Like dude could be a fucking press secretary. Like he could basically lie right off the cuff like that. And so I think that's something that the Democrats are probably trying to mess with a little bit, and they're getting somebody out there like Gavin Newsom to try and bring at least a bit more of authenticity, and to, like I said, in just a small nudge sort of way, recenter the Democrats on something more concrete and toward their actual agenda, because they're realizing the whole far left trans ideology, LGBTQIA plus minus, a whole that thing that actually had a negative impact on them. So I think they're trying, the actual party, the people that are focused, at the top of, like I say, destroy so that we could place themselves at the top, are, I don't think that they want the whole, trans movement and all that type of stuff really take, to continue to drag their party down,
Yeah, I would assume not, but unfortunately for them, they're all dying out. You know what I mean? They're all 80-plus-year-olds and shit. And like I said, that the future of the parts. What I was saying, you fear for the future because it's Jasmine Crockett and fucking AOC. That even if they don't actually believe that stuff, they're definitely willing to push it just for the divisional factor that contributes to the destroy to rebuild, and however you want it. If utopia fashion, like you were saying. And I think that they're fucking gonna double down, man. I think that the old ones are getting outnumbered. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason that they've been cool with it and pushing it too, is to try to appease that younger crowd, to try to consolidate the block. But as you can see, even by the reaction during the Trump speech, the way the different things that different groups of them did, it's like it's fractured, man. It's there's no cohesive fucking unit. So it's like, I think that right now it's like a vacuum, and we'll see who comes out on the other end. You know what I'm saying? Like they want it to be Hakeem Jeffries, obviously, Pelosi's handpicked replacement, but I don't think he has it, dude. I think
yeah,
he's, like, and I don't just mean like he's not a good speaker, but even being concise and direct, what have you, the way he moves his hands, everything. It's just, to me, it's like watching Jimmy Swaggart fucking. Whatever the case, just some scam ass pastor, and that's not
right.
going to float.
I don't know. Personally, I think what they're going to end up doing is I think that they're going to basically try and break off their LGBTQIA plus wing, and basically they're going to try and make them into the next green party. Basically, they still vote fucking with Democrats all along.
I hope
Everything
they
that the
don't.
Democrats
I hope
do.
they double and triple down.
Right. Again, like I say, I hope, but ultimately just thinking in the mindset of somebody who would be on that end, who's actually trying to maintain their power and stuff, I think that ultimately that would be the move that they are trying to push this party toward. Just because, like I say, the people out there are not responding well to "it's ma'am."
Right.
People, it's like I said, wokeness has become a joke to American society these days. Like it's,
But you see the bill, the Keep Women Safe Act, every single Democrat voted against it. You know what I mean? Every single one of them, dude.
Well, that's
And then
because
they show up at Trump's speech wearing pink, like, we're here to fight for women's.
right. Well, that's of course everything. Of course, everything within the Democrat Party is still in lockstep. That's why I say they're not ultimately going to.
But you see, like the censor of Al Green, 10 of them voted for it. You know what I mean? 100% of them voted against the fucking, the Protect Women Act, dude.
Right. Well, there's a bunch of fucking trannies and perverts, man.
Right. Deviant fucks, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Cultural Marxists, like you said, tear it down to rebuild it into some rainbows, utopias.
Right. But at the same time, deviant fucking people after it becomes shameful in society or after they get caught and exposed and stuff like that. It's not like they stop doing what they're doing. They just don't do it in the open no more, you know? And I think
Mhm.
that's what Democrats are trying to do here. They're not going to stop doing what they're doing. They're not going to stop it with any of their agendas. They're probably not even going to
Right.
change course on anything. They're just going to try and change optics. And that's why I say I think with Gavin Newsom in this podcast, I think they're trying to, like I say, bring some. They're basically trying to get
Like I said, change the messaging. We're gonna change the way we describe it, so
right,
that way you don't right. They're literally saying our voters are stupid, and we can
right.
continue to do the same shit if we just describe it differently or put on a different face. And
And it's true though. That's not wrong. You know, of course, obviously it's wrong in a moral sense, but in a sense of trying to understand and push your agenda onto the public, they're correct. You know, that is the way that you would do it. You know, just like the same way that we have all of these different podcasters on the right and stuff like that. We could, all that we really do is, we could watch fucking podcasts and shit like that, or, listen to podcasts all day, read a couple articles and stuff like that. And when it comes to getting into, debates or, anything like that with lefties, we have all this random knowledge. Like, oh, actually, Charlie Kirk said this. Oh, I remember Dr. Turley said this. Oh, actually, I heard this on Timcast. And basically just all of these, sort of, comebacks and stuff like that. We basically have them off the cuff because we have, you know, hundreds and hundreds of different minds basically all broadcasting to the world. Okay, well, this is what they say about this. Well, this and this, and then you could go to the next person and they're basically talking about the same subject. Oh, well, this and this, and then you get this basically this whole broad spectrum view. I think
and
that's
you have the
basically
same
what
on
they're
the
trying to
left,
build.
right? They have the same on the left, except for it's just fucking. Well, Trump's Hatlers, and he said he's canceling Social Security's this.
Well, that's what I'm
You
saying
know?
because all of their messaging is top down. All of
Right,
our messaging is bottom up. All of our
right,
messaging is basically like a pyramid. Like we have man on the streets, we have podcasts, we have all kinds of people just within the base talking to one
absolutely.
another, having conversations and stuff. The left doesn't have that. I mean, they have people basically going and talking to each other, but there's things that you can't say. There's, from the top, like, oh, you better not say this. Like, oh, you better not think that. Like, if anybody comes to talk to you, you're not allowed to talk to them. You tell them to talk to a representative. Like everything
Right,
on their side is top down. And so I think that they're trying to and at least, like I say, they don't want to change the whole top down thing. They just want
and
to,
make it appear
they,
like it.
right. They want to extend a microphone down from the top so they could at least hear what the people on the bottom are trying to, are feeling what's vibing with the kids these days, basically.
Right. But,
Yeah.
fucking bringing on fucking Charlie Kirk is definitely not that. Like, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. Dude did a lot for, the MAGA movement, the ground game, especially here in Arizona. But he's an insufferable rich kid. You know what I
Oh yeah.
mean? Like definitely. I mean, you see when he goes to college campuses, like fools will sit and talk to him or debate with him, what have you. But most of the time, they have complete disdain. I mean, I'm not saying much, right? We see what makes the left cheer, but at the same time, it's like that. They're only there to try to, fuck you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that.
I've been working on this question all week. Charlie Kirk's not going to be able to get this. I got him this time. I swear. Yeah.
Right.
Right. But then again, Charlie Kirk being who Charlie Kirk is, that's a flavor. There's people, trust me, a lot of the people I go to church with that were, raised in the church from fucking childhood. And, they went to, Bible school their entire, they went to a Christian school, all this and that. Those people love Charlie Kirk. Like Charlie,
Right. I mean, dude, obviously he gets, millions
but
of views. His organization's gotten massive.
that's what I'm
I
saying.
mean,
Just because he's not necessarily our flavor and stuff like that. Like I'm pretty sure if I tried to show them Sticks, intelligent as he is, they'd probably be like, "This guy's fucking weird. Like, why would I want to listen to this
right.
guy?" Like so. I mean, it's basically just we have a flavor for any fucking whatever your passion may be, or whatever. Whatever choose your flavor, I guess.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not even necessarily talking shit on the guy. I mean,
Mhm.
he does his thing. And
He's
like I said,
intelligent. Yeah.
yeah, a huge help for, the MAGA movement. Like I said, especially here in Arizona, he was basically Trump's entire ground game here. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Turning point.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, a lot of the, really everybody, on the conservative sphere, they have stuff that I like about them, I don't like about them. They have, personality traits that I don't like about them, stuff that they've, brought up from their upbringing and stuff like that I don't like about them. But as I say, it, just because I don't like them doesn't mean that they don't have anything that might be of some sort of value, So
Yeah,
I guess
absolutely.
I have my hierarchy, which is going to be really thrown off now because of course, Bongino was always at the fucking top of that list. So everything's going to be kind of scattered at the moment. But
Yeah, fuck yeah. I've listened to that dude for like a decade straight, every day. It's
right,
it'd be pretty weird, man.
yep,
And the
yep,
chick shows aren't cutting it. I've been listening to the Crucible a lot lately. Oh,
yeah.
Andrew Wilson's
Oh,
pretty
Andrew,
great, man.
right,
Yeah, he's a head cracker.
yeah, yep, yeah. If I can, that dude's good, man. You ever see him on the Whatever podcast?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and like not here recently, he's been being brought on the Piers Morgan show, which is, that's pretty good, getting him some, some mainstream exposure. You like
Yep.
to see that. And you seen his wife was just on Tim recently. She's breaking it down up there with
Yeah.
him as well. Yeah, she's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. She's smart fucking lady too,
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, fucking they're good people and shit. Like I say, but there's a whole flavor for anybody out there,
Yeah, and they think what the fucking Gavin Newsom's he's gonna be our Joe Rogan's.
Right.
Fuck, hilarious, man.
Right.
Absolutely not the guy. Old Dracula Bateman, dude.
Yep. But nonetheless, like I say, you can't deny the fact that he's quick on his feet when it comes to talking and shit like that. Like the dude can give a fucking a quick lie fucking off the cuff like nothing.
Yeah, some of them make him look worse though, or even when he tells the truth, the way you try to
Right.
like spin it, like with the old like people come over your house to clean it up. Absolutely, you know what I'm saying? Like you fucking shitbag, dude.
Right.
Or like this one, this first episode, how Kirk got him to say like he doesn't agree with males and female sports, and he's gonna get the roast.
Right. Let's see. So here's just a couple clips. I haven't pre-screened any of this. Just typed in Gavin Newsom podcast. Let's go ahead and check some of these out real quick.
It's like you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports,
Right.
that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out
Can
and
I-
say no.
No, and I appreciate and
But like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. So that's easy to call out the unfairness of that.
It's like you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports,
Right.
that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out
Can
and
I-
say no.
No, and I appreciate and
But like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that.
Whoa. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's the clip that
melts
has
is-
the left melting down. Right. Yeah. You do gotta admit, man, we're definitely much better at these gotcha moments than the left. Of course, we do have the whole thing of truth, logic, and reason on our side, so it does make things a little bit easier.
That's why I don't know why Newsom would bring Kirk on his first episode. I could see, at some point, but dude, I mean, why not
because-
establish like himself and like you know what I mean, his podcast persona before just bringing someone on that demolishes people for a living. You know what I mean?
It's for the same reason that Donald Trump went and gave a full-length interview to Theo Vaughn, but not to Tim Pool or someone like that. You know why that is? Because his son's a fan.
Yeah, I don't even know if I believe that, dude. You know what I mean?
Last night, my son bed, no doubt. What time should they be here? What time? Dude, you're
I've
so
heard him
nice, 13.
say
He's like,
this
no,
on
this
more
morning,
than one
wakes
occasion.
up at six.
That his son, he likes these conservative podcasts. It's like he said this quite a bit. Like that's kind of like his whole thing is like my son's becoming real conservative or real alt right and shit. Like, yeah, that's been something he's said on multiple occasions already. So I'd believe it that his son's a Charlie Kirk fan. He's fucking Gavin Newsom's horrified by the fact that his son likes fucking conservative podcasts.
But I've also,
And
like
he's
you
like-
said, he's mentioned that several times, and one of them I know for sure. He was like, fucking right wing podcasts like Joe Rogan's. You know what I mean?
Right.
Joe Rogan's, self admitted leftist.
He's
his
a
entire
gateway
life.
drug, bro.
Right.
He's a
To
fucking
conversations.
right. Same way like working out. He's gonna make you conservative one day or something like that. Yeah, that's why the left are all fucking out of shape and weird looking, you know?
As soon as the testosterone starts kicking in, man.
Right. You're gonna want to start a family or you're gonna want to fucking, work for a living and shit like that. You like can't have that. It's gonna make you conservative, man.
I'm coming. I'm like, he literally would not leave the house.
Did you let him take off school?
No, of course not. He's not here for a good reason. But the point is,
Come on,
the
you canceled
point.
school for like 2 years. Once one, it took
The point is the point, which is you are making a damn dent.
Thank you. I'm kidding.
When you go to these college campuses, I love watching your TikTok, which is
Thank
next
you.
level. And clearly, that's expressed by my 13-year-old son.
I want to meet this guy.
Yeah, I actually
He's
am
coming to a Turning Point event this summer, Tampa, Florida Student Action Summit.
I actually am by the way, if
You
you
should
did,
be concerned.
but so let me say here is why I'm concerned, because you have expressed that I should be concerned as a Democrat that we're getting
that's true. Okay.
clobbered.
Yes.
That
Indeed.
you figured something out.
It's
The
not me. The president first deserves the credit.
But why?
I-
No, hold on. You were at this before Trump was
No,
Trump.
I know, but
He was a Democrat back in 2011
yeah, but
and 12.
the president deserves huge credit. And I just have to say that as an obligatory thing, because without him,
No, I
our
appreciate
movement would be small. And you can appreciate that in politics. You have to appreciate the person
Did
who is
he,
the catalyst.
for you, that's what you sort of attached an
It
identity
was
with
also
him?
just the catalyst. It was a cultural moment that just opened us up.
So yeah, his son seemed like he's a fan, man. So much so that he wouldn't even let him be at the house when Charlie Kirk came by because he knew that he's going to be a fan.
That's good. I mean, I hope he's telling the truth. You know what I mean? A 13-year-old watching some political podcasts and shit, but
Right.
just have a hard time with it. Myself. I mean, that guy's greasy as fuck. I think that fool will lie about anything, and repeating it, not a problem. You
Like
know
I
what
was listening to Crowder earlier. Fucking, he was all they did. Like, I remember back when I was 13 years old and I was reading about. I forgot who he said was president at the time, but he's like, yeah, I remember back being 13 years old and reading about this in the news and this and that. He's like, yes, I was a 13-year-old that was very into politics. I had a really weird childhood. But I mean, there's people out there that are like that, you know. So I mean,
No.
especially if your dad's the governor of California, you'd probably look into it a little bit, you know. And
Maybe.
especially nowadays, you know. I mean, if you just peer into politics a little bit, you're going to either find people like Charlie Kirk or like Tim Pool, Steven Crowder, Dan Bongino, all these people. Or you're gonna find weirdo psychos like fucking Hassan Piker and fucking Destiny, all these weirdo fucking leftists and shit like that.
The only ones that are willing to actually debate fools, though. You know what I'm saying?
That's
James
true.
and Destiny. I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong. The vast majority of the time, they get made to look like complete morons, but they'll continue to come. Especially Destiny. I feel like that guy will come on any show.
Yeah, they get paid for it though too. I mean,
Right.
I go fucking make an ass out of myself if I was getting paid fucking that kind of money and shit. I go fucking talk all kinds of shit. Fucking LGBTQ rights, bro.
Fuck that, dude.
No, I'm just kidding. I probably wouldn't do any of that. But if it did come to a point where conservatives were being made fools of and, looking like fucking idiots on TV and shit like that.
They just say debate fucking Andrew Wilson, bro. Too
Right.
much, dude. He melts down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start slinging the fucking Riri words around and shit. Yours guys is means is
Right. It's mean spirited. But nonetheless, the Gavin Newsom podcast, like I said, I think it's an experiment by the Democrat establishment. And I think the whole reason that they started with somebody like Gavin Newsom is because Gavin Newsom is a slick talker. If they're trying to go for any sort of sense of authenticity, it'd probably be Gavin Newsom to fake that for them. He's probably the guy that can manufacture authenticity for you.
Dracula Bateman, man.
As oxymoronic as that sounds. Fucking he can manufacture you some authenticity on the fly like that. Like,
He's like, look, I'm using less gel in my hair, man. Fucking
right? Like
bringing
my
out a
collar,
MAGA voice that's destroying me. It's good
my
time.
collar's got a little bit of a twist at the end, so that way it doesn't look like I have tailored suits. Like, look, I'm just like you guys.
Right.
Collar's not even perfectly pressed. See, totally
Yeah,
just like the
fucking
regular
place
Joe
is
Schmo.
burnt down, dude. It's been in the red ink for years, bro. Fucking just got through floods, a water shortage. Fucking, you know what I
Fucking
mean?
mudslides and shit.
Place is decimated. He's like, I'm gonna make a fucking podcast, dude. That's exactly what the governor of the state, where they're begging for double-digit billions for rebuilding and shit.
Right. But he does it with a smile on his face, man. He makes you feel like there's nothing wrong here.
Greasy ass
Dude,
smile. You know what I mean?
Right, man. Democrats still love him. Like Democrats still love that guy. Like, I mean, a little bit less now that he said that. I totally agree. But
Right.
nonetheless, I mean, dude, like I say, that if anyone's gonna bring some sort of air of authenticity to the Democrat Party, I think it's Gavin fucking Newscum. He's the new scum. Donald Trump's drained the swamp. He's the newest scum to hit the pond.
I just hope that it's another nail in the fucking 2028 coffin. That's what I'm fucking hoping for.
Well, nonetheless, one thing that it's definitely going to be is endless content for people like us to rag on. So good times,
Absolutely.
man. Yep, fucking,
Sure, yeah.
I'm all for it, man. Fucking good, you go, Gavin Newsom. I'm gonna go. I might actually go subscribe just to see. Dude, that'd be funny if he fucking actually starts streaming on Rumble.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. That's I mean,
Right.
they're trying to pick up what the youth is putting down, dude.
Fuck it, man. Do it, dude. Do it. Like it's fucking free speech, dude. Like we don't care. Like we don't care if you guys want to spout your fucking weird ass shit. It's just when it's fucking when you're trying to censor us from spouting our regular fucking normal people shit. That's when it becomes a problem. And then at the same time, with all these people and the upper levels of government and shit. Like, I forgot where I was going with that, but either way, yeah, you guys could fucking come on our platforms too. We don't give a shit. Just understand that you're gonna get fucking filleted, which Gavin Newsom is setting himself up for right now. He's setting him up for fucking, I don't know how big of a season deal he signed, but it's definitely gonna be a couple more instances of this. One thing I do gotta say though, man, is fucking Fetterman, bro. Like, I owe a genuine apology to that guy. Like fucking dude, like throughout the whole campaign, trail and shit like that, like making fun of him and shit like that. It turns out it was actually a ruse on the Democrats. Like
right, he's the voice of reason over there, man.
Right, he was playing dumb. Turns out he's actually just a regular fucking Joe Schmo. He's the voice of reason now. He's just like, oh, don't worry, I'm just like you. Go steel workers. Like. Right. And then, next thing you know, is it starts to go away and it's like, all right, so actually, I think we're going a little bit too far on this LGBTQ stuff. It's not going well. It's really, it's messing up. We're trying to be for women's rights here, and we can't do that while these trans people are invading women's sports, but we set aside just for like the Democrats. What the fuck? Like, what happened to fucking sloth, bro? Like I voted for fucking sloth, man. Someone need to give that guy another stroke, man. Like fuck that.
He even called out his own party for the reaction to the Trump speech. I mean,
yeah,
he definitely is. With war, everything. He's been the voice of reason over there. There's no other way to put it, man. It's not absolutely not what I expected. Like you said, during the campaign trail and, seeing him not being able to say his own name, it was, he didn't have much hope. Like I can't believe these guys are, putting in another dead body, but
right.
he certainly redeemed himself. I mean, well, his voting record though is still
redeem yourself.
Right.
Yeah. He's still thinking, still a Democrat. He still votes along party lines and all that stuff. Just when it comes to his actual speech and rhetoric, he's actually makes sense most of the time. He just votes in the opposite way. Yeah, he knows
Unless
he signed
it's
his
to fucking
paycheck.
protect fucking Israel.
Republicans have been very critical of Democrats today, saying they did not stand up enough for Trump's speech during certain.
But all right, talk about Zelensky real quick, man. So of course, last week on the show we talked about Zelensky getting absolutely fucking roasted by both Donald Trump and JD Vance simultaneously, fucking Eiffel Tower style, high five, right there, right in the Oval Office, man. Yeah. So this week, so all three, there was a series of events. So there was that whole speech, or that whole moment and stuff in the Oval Office. Donald Trump officially said that he was cutting off all what was it, foreign aid to Ukraine. So basically cutting off their entire supply of military equipment, all that stuff. And then Zelensky promptly came out and apologized, and now things are back on track. We're going to get their fucking minerals and shit. And Donald Trump gets everything that he wants. It's almost like he knew exactly the ways that this was going to go. He played me like a fool. Yeah,
Dude, I mean, he immediately left here, flew to the UK, tried to get the EU to back him up, like they were going to bail his shit out, and of course, they came out like, we'll contribute this many billions and feet on the ground. He saw, the Rainbow Warriors, and realized that their few billions were not going to do it, especially in comparison to what America's already given them.
I mean,
And yeah, so then he was like, I'm sorry, man, it's back on. I need Donald Trump's leadership. And,
I
like you
want
said,
these goddess you were talking about. I would like some
yeah,
goddess now.
and this just keeps happening, like with the tariffs, everyone's like, it's gonna fucking destroy the economies. And now you got Apple's, they're opening plant here. You got, like Honda opening plants here. You got same thing, Trudeau came out talking tough, literally less than 24 hours. He came out talking tough about the tariffs, like we're gonna continue to boo the American anthem and we're gonna refrain from
But
bourbon and all this shit. And then fucking less than 24 hours, apologize too. Let's work, we got a deal worked out. Everything's cool now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's,
Right.
that's so much winning.
Right. I say the dude is masterful. He's masterful at trolling. He's masterful at the art of the deal. Like the dude literally wrote the book on the art of the deal. I mean, like I said, the left hate him all you want, dude. Like he is literally the only thing keeping America alive at this point. But of course, it's as we mentioned quite frequently, Donald Trump only has 4 years of this. It's up to the rest of us to keep this information stream going. It's up to the rest of us to get out there and talk to each other. Get out there, build community. Get out there and actually it's up to us to actually make America great again. Donald Trump and the MAGA Trump and the MAGA Republicans, as the Democrats used to say. They can do the policy. They can get the deregulations and all this type of stuff going. Actually, that's another thing I want to talk about in a minute is deregulation. But it's up to us to actually put this stuff to work. I mean, as Donald Trump's the first politician in decades that's actually told us it's gonna hurt a little bit, you guys, but in the end, it's gonna be worth it, right? I mean, obviously, it's probably one of the oldest proverbs out there. If they can, short-term joy equals long-term pain, whereas short-term pain equals long-term joy. And Donald Trump's basically the first person to actually show the people, or to basically actually tell that to the people in the proper way. Most politicians are, don't worry, as soon as I get elected, everybody's getting, Medicare for everybody. And then don't worry, we're going to have food stamps. Your food stamps are going to get increased to everybody. Once I get elected, we're going to, have, all of this and that. It's all going to be free. I'll give it all to you guys, taxpayer funded, this and that. Donald Trump's basically the other way around. Donald Trump's basically saying, well, it's going to be a little bit rough, but in the end, it's going to pay off. Basically, we're planting trees whose shade we'll probably never sit under, but at least our children, future generations. I mean, don't get me wrong. We'll definitely reap some benefits. It's not going to be like, 50 years from now we're finally going to get back on. No, we're definitely going to reap some benefits. But ultimately, this is putting policies and economic mindsets within our government in place to basically like we talk about quite often, break the fucking heroin addiction to spending, to
It
printing
goes
money.
along with his biggest claim during the speech, which was, "I'm gonna balance the budget."
Right. Exactly. Didn't hear no Democrats clapping for that though, of course. Right.
Absolutely not. That was their worst nightmare right there, bro. They fucking got cold chills and shit, goosebumps, hair standing up.
Right. But yeah, like I said, Donald Trump basically is the one that planted the seed, and it's up to all the rest of us to water it now, But back to deregulations and shit like that. I do gotta say, like, hey man, like, I know your whole thing with, like, oh, we're gonna have 10 deregulations for every one regulation that we put into place. Like, can you get started on like some of those deregulations before you start, like, trade wars and stuff like that? Again, I understand that they're paying off, and a lot of them are really just chest puffing and economic, saber rattling and stuff like that, and they are effective. But ultimately, hey, can you, like, if we're gonna have to get into economic trade wars, do you think like you should deregulate some of these industries so we could like get started on that? Like maybe
Right.
our saber is much more rattleable if there's actually something within the fucking scalbert, so you think
Right.
maybe we could get that going too? Like, how
If you
about
really want liberty cities, they should have already.
right? How about you do 2 deregulations for every economic trade threat? Like, do it that way, right? Like,
Fuck.
right? If I can, don't worry, we're deregulating the oil industry, and we're gonna tell fucking Saudi Arabia and Russia to go fuck them. This and that. Maybe not
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia. We still need those assholes, but nonetheless, fucking but yeah, let's get some of these deregulations, going. Like I would
They're
like.
trying. That's why you heard the IRS is about to lay off like 40% of its fucking workforce, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What if it's not
You gotta do away
necessarily
with that kind of shit first.
what if
Oh,
it's
not get.
not necessarily deregulation, but it's more or less like kind of like, oh fuck, man, I didn't get this, shit that OSHA told me to fucking install, like weeks ago installed and shit like that. Like, damn it, they're gonna come shut me down, and then you're just sitting there waiting, like any day now they're gonna be showing up to shut me down, man. Fuck, dude, it's been like 3 months, man. Somebody shut me down, right? Like, fuck it, man. Just get back to work, like.
Right, get her.
Right. Like, just when it comes to deregulation, the way that we're doing it is basically we're not going to go through all this legislature and acts of Congress and all this and that to deregulate stuff. What we're basically going to do is we're just going to fire everybody that would come fucking enforce these regulations. There we go. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, Let's see, Dad. Have you guys seen the cringy video meme with female Democrat politicians like AOC pretending to be from a Street Fighter or Super Smash Bros. Character select screen? Yes. Yeah, that's
Right.
again, absolutely cringe. And it's further part of this Democrat rebranding campaign that they seem to be on. And they're it's not working for them, man. Like I say, most of the shit that they're coming up with is cringe. I do got to say, Gavin Newsom's probably, in my opinion, the best, at least avenue that they're trying to walk down. Again, like I say, he's not doing very great. He's getting his ass handed to him all the
You don't
time.
like chicks dancing down hallways with their tongues out and stuff? That's not appealing to you politically, bro?
Not at taxpayer expense, man. But
Right.
I'd be willing to fucking fund, hearing politicians, speak for a couple hours just as their authentic self, with off the cuff questions and shit like that, and different guests and interviews and stuff like that. Like,
Sure. I
I'd,
mean, I don't know about
I'd,
paying, but
I'd
yeah.
fund that. Like, I mean, shit, dude. They're already funding, gender studies, this and that. Like, fuck it. How about we fund an hour conversation, just once a week, with our representatives once a week. They come out and have an authentic interview with somebody that they don't know what the questions are going to be. Like, fuck it. Let's fund that. It's fun to podcast for every fucking congressman. That's
You
what
just
we'll do.
you turn NPR into just like for real political
Hey,
talk
there you
rather
go.
than just leftist political fucking jargon.
Right? Yeah. Just
That's-
fucking
Carrie Lake, get on it, man.
Right. It could even have fucking, debates, like, if two congressmen are fucking, having at it and shit like that. Like, fuck it, we're taking this live fucking 10 p.m. Eastern or 10 p.m. Arizona time.
Right.
You guys don't forget, man. You guys got to like, subscribe, make sure you guys vote for me this year, and well, we're gonna get this done.
Right, she's the head of America's Voice, right? So I mean, she can get it. She can get the ball rolling, man.
Right? Yeah, that'd be fucking cool. Like I say, just obviously, one thing that Donald Trump and his administration is working on is they're working on being the most transparent administration, really, kind of ever. And I think just. Like I say, obviously, I'm not saying like, dude, that's a top priority. We should call Donald Trump and somebody should get him working on podcasts for all these fucking politicians. But ultimately, I think just small little ideas and stuff like that to basically just, like I say, just make everything not so much for fucking stage, song and dance, fucking ridiculous, television event. When it comes to
Right.
seeing what's going on with our politicians, like. I want to actually hear what they're going to say off the cuff. Like I would like to, again, I understand, like it used to be back in the day that they would have to prepare, speeches and scripts and this and that type shit. Cause basically everybody would just scream at them one at a time and all this and that. But I say when it's a podcast, that's not so much the case anymore. Fucking someone will send in a super chat and like, oh, okay, let's see. They say, they asked this question. It's much easier nowadays to, take questions from the general public abroad than it used to be back in the day. So, if we
Right.
start working on shit like that,
Yeah, they said, dude, like let's take over the actual public shit that we fund and use it for something real educational or something positive, what have you. That'd be cool. I mean, because like you said, we're already funding it, so
right? Yeah. Oh, don't worry, Linda McMahon getting in to chop all that shit down. Did she get confirmed? I think she got confirmed, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was yesterday.
Yep. Like Linda McMahon is that the same Linda McMahon as the wife of Vince McMahon?
I believe so.
I think so. It looks like her. She still got the same haircut from back in the 90s. So
I'm almost positive.
all right, she still goes to the same hairdresser and shit. Yeah, either way, fuck it, dude. She's getting rid of the Department of Education and shit. I actually saw a Democrat thing like fucking you should be afraid. Like with the Department of Education being cut, who knows what your kids are going to be learning nowadays? Education is going to be completely privatized. Like it's like, are you trying to scare me? Like what the fuck are you talking about? Like I would like education to be completely fucking privatized. Like no, like where are your kids going to be without their government mandated agenda? Or
Right.
their government mandated curriculum. Yeah, right.
Creativity stifling Frankfurt fucking indoctrination.
Right. Core curriculums, all this and that. Yeah. Where
Yep,
would they
and the left
be?
can't meme, dude. They need 6 bars of fucking text on the meme to get it across. But
Shit, where would they be? They'd probably be fucking literate and actually doing something with their lives. That's where they'd probably fucking be. Indeed, the
That's tough.
left cannot meme, Dabu. They can't. It's they try. Sometimes they have some funny ones. Every once in a great while, there's some ones that like, they're talking shit about us, but that's a little funny, but
Yeah.
it's very rare.
Yeah, like the current ones they have going around of JD Vance, like as a great big fucking, fat guy with the chud beard, and it's they got one of 'em going around where he's an emo kid.
Alrighty, you guys ready for this cringe fest over here? Speaking of the left not being able to meme, here's proof. Anyway, where'd it go? Oh, there we go. All right, now
Fuck,
just
dude.
for fun, let's go ahead and talk shit about all these people's fucking stances. Like, what the fuck is this? I get it. They're doing the NPC thing, which really is kind of fitting for their party. You know, that they're over here being, you know, non-playable characters. They're doing the whole fucking TikTok thing with the like, oh, thank you for the glizzy. Like, oh, thank you for the glizzy. Like, that's literally what they're doing. Like, this isn't a good look for you guys, but nonetheless, that's your thing.
They're trying to
Let's
do like
see.
a Street Fighter fucking, player selection menu, dude.
Right.
Giving you stats and shit, and it's like a minus for AOCs. She's attractive, dude. She's
Right.
attractive. Sure you are.
The fuck is it? What the hell is even that AOC? Like,
And she
like,
watches fucking Star Trek Lower Decks. I'm
right,
attracted
the smile is just too much, man. It's throwing it off. It's like, I'm gonna fight you. Like,
right.
Right? Yeah, it's not working, man. Fucking Trekkie. And then
Hey,
there's
I
this
believe it was
one.
on TikTok, man. The original video.
What, this one?
No, in the comments, dude. You've seen the repost, but I'm curious where they posted the original video. I'm saying I'm pretty
yeah.
sure it was from TikTok.
Yeah, probably TikTok. That's their target audience. All right, but this lady's about to give you a fucking karate chop if you don't like and subscribe, though. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, share this video out with your friends as well. We'll send the Democrats after you. We'll take your
black
take your
woman to be
guns.
elected to Congress, so you should look 60.
And that's why I don't know what the fuck she's doing. She's over there being fucking remember fucking Blanca and the fucking little electrical fucking like that's that
Yeah.
stance right there.
Blanca.
Right? Classic. And then this, I don't even know what the fuck that is. Like, the
That's your
most
standard
fucking
100-year-old trying to fucking, I'll get you.
right. This is the only person that you would expect in all of this to fucking actually know some sort of kung fu and shit. Like, at least do Tai Chi or some shit, some type of woman shit like that. Like, no, you know, am I doing it right?
Right, Taibo and shit.
Right? No, they're trying to fucking be some half-ass It Man and shit. Jasmine Crockett, I don't know what the fuck she's doing. She's doing the full-on NPC squat. She's definitely grateful for glizzies. Ice cream's so good.
Like I said, dude, the South Park fucking cats thought it would take 500 years to get to this point, man. You know what I mean? This is idiocracy, man.
Right? You thought you would be so lucky. Fuck no, dude. This is working way faster than Brother Androv could have expected. As a
Right.
fucking Yuri would say. It's gone exponentially. We've hit the fucking point. We've hit the peak, man. We are in full on fucking hockey stick compounding interest on lack of interest. Yeah, we're downstream.
Absolutely, man. That's what you like to, that's what I was saying earlier, dude, that you feel for the future. Like we like to think like, like you said, planting trees, dude. It's the golden age. It's man, changes are happening, but the younger generations fucking are saying something different. They're like, nope. They
Right.
want to fucking make TikTok videos and fucking work from home and
Yep. Well, I mean, ultimately it's I don't know, it's in God's hands, man. Fucking Donald Trump could plant the seed, it could be watered by patriots, but God brings the increase, you know? So I guess as long as I guess sanity, the benefits of sanity outweigh the whatever benefits you happen to get from victimization and insanity. We just got to hope that those continue to thrive. And of course, like Donald Trump said, there's going to be some short-term pain, and as we say quite often, hard times going to bring about strong men. So you just got to like I said, just kind of hope things kind of level themselves out a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, man, I've said a million times, even on here, it'll get worse before it gets better. That's even with the old, the left's talking point, right, with their robotic fucking video that was verbatim across the inner zones by a couple
Right.
dozen Democrats, where it's, costs haven't gone up, they're going up. Well, one, they're going up for the repercussions of the Joe Biden shit. It's been 6 weeks. And especially with how they love to tote egg prices, right? And if you could turn that point around, get past, the hump with implementing the new measures coupled with the repercussions of the previous, if you can get over that and land okay, that's where everything levels out, and your money's better, your account grows, your retirement grows, so on and so forth. And but the
Yeah.
American dreams is
Ultimately, I mean, it's going to take a change of mindset because I mean, ultimately, people's accounts only grow if they allow them to. You know,
right.
as we see, especially with Americans, man, if you let their accounts grow, they're going to do their damnedest to stop that from happening. You know, so I mean, really, like I say,
Which
it's going
drives up inflation's is.
to right. But ultimately, I mean, I think some of these hard times are going to instill in a lot more people a much more conservative and more economically prudent mindset.
Well said, man. You hope, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like flipping a coin. You got a 50-50.
Fucking fasting actually works, bro. And sometimes when it's forced, it even works too. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. That's when it works the best, actually.
Right. Just ask the Jews, man. Yeah, man, I'm going to hell for that one.
You can go on that tip. That's the portion where I know me. I'm not pleased with the fucking the Trump administration. It
Right.
seems like as every one of them walks into office, all of a sudden it went from we're cutting government corrupt waste, corruption, abuse to we got to fight anti-Semitism. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even Bongino. Like
Right.
it's
So in terms of Donald Trump's whole thing about we're going to give them what they need to finish the job comment, how do you interpret that? Do you interpret it as basically, we're going to keep funding Israel because they're Israel, or do you interpret it as basically, here's what you need, flatten them. We're going to go in and fucking start construction on Trump Tower. I'd like to start it by this summer. Okay. Do you think that's what he means?
I mean, to an extent, but I think a lot of it is with the first, man, as far as we're going
Right.
to keep funded because of who it is. Because even with the whole toting we've cut off foreign aid, he didn't throw in except Israel. You know what I mean? Like everything is except Israel.
Right.
So and then it's not even like a whole it's anti-Semitism, racism, pointing out reality is just fucking reality.
Right. Like people always like to but they're God's chosen people. Like if you really actually think about it, technically they're basically God's ex-wife.
Right.
That's really what they technically are. And they got their full-on divorce papers and everything. So I mean,
But I mean, they're trying to deport kids for anti-Semitism, cutting off fucking college campuses for federal funding for it. And don't get me wrong, we spoke on this a bunch of times as well. I mean, there's a difference between freedom of speech and subversive fucking rhetoric and so on. But at the same token, it's like, dude, like that's not any kind of detriment to the country.
right. I think a lot of it too isn't so much that they're like, oh, we need to crack down on these anti-Semitism laws and stuff like that. I think it's really just they need to just the ones that they already had be enforced. And I think it's a long time systemic issue that's been going on in America, where basically it depends on what the agenda of the political elites are going after and shit like that, as to whether or not it constitutes as free speech, or whether it's a protest or a riot. Depends on whoever's in power, basically. So
I feel that tip, but it's been a progressing issue we've saw in the last few years. I mean, Ron DeSantis even,
mhm.
signed anti-Semitism laws, speech laws in Israel for
Yeah,
Florida. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And Trump did the same when he was in office, as far as anti, Semites on campuses, and the same shit they're cracking down on now. He was the one to fucking, implement some of that. And like I said, we can debate on what is actual free speech or subversive shit, but you know, I don't think a single person or administration are the ones to do that myself. But I totally agree with you that it depends on who's in power, how that's enforced, or how it's
right.
interpreted.
Yep. I think a lot of the problem too is fucking we just don't let the community solve their own problems no more, you know? Like it's a bad thing for, like I say, fuck it. We should be able to go out and protest and say, get these fucking teachers that are, showing this smut to our kids out of fucking school. Get them out of our fucking town. Like we should be able to go and fucking, picket and fucking burn fucking stakes outside their houses.
Yeah, or the 35-year-old fucking Palestinian,
Right,
immigrant that's going to a college campus to rile up the kids and, organize them and whatnot. Those are the
right,
people that should be deported, not the fucking college student that's just as easily duped by some radical as they are a radical professor. You know what I
right.
mean?
Yep. Yep, it's crazy. You don't notice it until well, I mean, obviously you don't. Fish doesn't notice the water until he's outside the pond. But you know, it's crazy just to look back and just see how people always say, oh, young people's minds are like sponges. It's fucking true. Like fuck,
Yeah.
dude, you can manipulate those kids to do fucking anything. Those kids are dumb, dude.
And especially current day when, the vast majority of their time's been spent with or on electronics and, no actual like, deep meaning, not a lot of human interaction outside of like school and whatnot, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I know when I was a kid, it was like, everyone was out riding their bikes all fucking day. You were gone, 12, 13 hours a day sometimes, right? Especially summertime.
yep,
And then so they're searching for meaning and whatnot, the old they should be fighting in a war, that's why.
yeah,
It's I mean, you got to have some kind of semblance, and you don't have that. And like as usual, it creates a vacuum like most things in that scenario, and
right.
willing to absorb whatever is being flushed into it wholeheartedly.
Yep. It's also the the lack of adversity that they've ever had to actually face, and so therefore, I mean, ultimately people crave, you know, strife, or people crave, a challenge in some sort of way, Um and when you don't have that, you're basically going to create it. That's we talk about all the time about how poverty is really relative. About how basically a homeless person on the street today has a better fucking dental plan than King fucking Henry VIII. And so I mean, it's relative. Um, so ultimately, whenever they don't have some sort of actual adversity, they're going to create it, and it's basically going to be fucking relative, and it's going to be like, I don't know, fucking, I had to, you don't know what I've been through my whole life. Like, I was fucking bullied in school my whole life. I didn't even have Jordans, man. I could only afford Air Force Ones, and I never recovered from that, you guys. So now I need disability because I can't, socialize and interact in public. Like, they just need, like I say, these people just create a whole reason to feel bad for me. No, feel bad for me, you guys. Like,
Right.
no, I'm the one you should be feeling bad for. Like, it's the victim
Conditions to be
Olympics.
marginalized with. It's fucking, cultural
Right.
Marxism, like we said, man. And unfortunately, it's like seeped its way into that scenario, and then that involves, pharmaceuticals. So that's why, you have such a large percentage on, antidepressants and, other types of, you know, stimulants and whatnot that just fucks everything up even more. That's why recent study come out saying something like not in the high 90 percentile of like major shooters have that in common as far as psychotropic drugs. Man, I mean that's an issue that's coupled with it, dude.
It's MK Ultra,
Just
bro.
letting things go. I know, go haywire across the
Right.
board, man. So you got
Yeah.
the Mockingbird, right, going in with you know, the Smith Munt, and you put it with the medication, and you know, young adults with no direction. It's perfect fucking ingredients.
Yeah, we should. I mean, it's gonna sound radical and crazy here for a second, but just follow me. Fucking should make it to where we don't ever send any funding to any foreign wars. If we're gonna send anything, we're gonna send our troops. We're gonna send Americans. That's it. So basically, of course, that's gonna, change it to where basically we don't have to avoid adversity, or we don't have to avoid actually getting our hands dirty and stuff like that. Because ultimately it's going to have two effects. One, our kids ought to be fighting in a fucking war. That's why they need fucking discipline. That's why ultimately, again, like I say, kids need some sort of adversity. And then at the same time, the rest of the world ain't our fucking business. Like we've said that time and time again on this show. The rest of the world isn't our business. We're not the world police. We could mediate. Fuck it. If you want us to sit down in a room while you guys yell at each other, we'll agree to do that for you. But ultimately, we shouldn't be fucking sending all of this funding. We shouldn't be funding all of this subversive shit in foreign countries where basically we overthrow governments, we fund protests, we fund LGBTQ studies, all that shit. We shouldn't be funding any of this shit in foreign wars, in foreign nations. Basically, if we want to go over there and fix anything, we should go over there and fix things. That's basically the way that it should work. And of course, it's barbaric. It sounds like that, but ultimately, the ultimate goal at the end of this is we shouldn't be fucking fighting all the time. Like how about we stop endless wars? There's an idea. How about we and of course I understand there's always going to be some sort of conflicts and stuff in the world. But we don't got to be involved with it. And if we are going to be involved with it,
racket,
be involved with it.
Right, but they'd rather drag it on for years so they can rake in hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars.
It's a racket. It's a racket,
exactly.
man.
On both ends. I mean, that's why you have entities that fund, give out loans and shit like that to both sides, because no matter what, the house always wins.
Yep. Yeah, and the Speaker of the House definitely always wins when it's Nancy Pelosi. Follow stocks at NancyPelosiTracker.com.
Right. Or fucking eye patch McCain, you'll be coming up.
Right. Like I was listening to the podcast with Russell Brand, and he was talking about eye patch McCain, and he was trying to, because I guess Russell Brand's much more of a fan of Tucker Carlson. Obviously, he's never really met fucking old Dan Crenshaw, but Dan Crenshaw was doing his best fucking Gavin Newsom to just like walk around the question, because of course he was asking him like, so what's of course I'm paraphrasing, but he was basically more or less like, so what's the whole beef with you and Tucker Carlson? I haven't really looked into it, anything like that. I just heard that there are some comments made and stuff, and that basically Dan Crenshaw's whole thing is that Tucker Carlson's just a someone that's looking, he's a clickbait type of guy, that he's just looking to to get money off of going viral and stuff like that, and basically that he's not an actual serious person, and that's the whole thing. That
there's multi-hour unscripted conversations every day. You know what I mean?
And so he's trying to go famous by like calling me liberal and stuff like that. Like that's the whole thing. And, he's just trying to be a troll, and he's trying to, get money and, get, people to watch his videos and stuff like that. Cause, he says, oh, this is about Dan Crenshaw or whatever. And, obviously you and I know the actual truth, but, Russell Brand would like try to like allude to it for like a second. Like, does it have like anything to do with like Ukraine, or, anything to do with the military industrial kind of, he'd like kind of like stop him. Like he'd like, oh, well, actually, I actually want to touch on what you were just saying just a second ago. And then he'll just completely answer a different question that wasn't actually even related to Ukraine or anything like that. And then just go back into
political rhetoric, dude.
Right. And then just go back into how Tucker Carlson's just being a hater and how he's just trying to do it for clicks and for money and stuff like that, because that's his job. That's how he gets paid. Like it's to get people to watch a show. So of course he's just going to come out and say things about a war hero and stuff like that, and he's going to mock my injuries, my war injuries. Got these in war, lost my war. So, he seriously said it like 20 times. He was like, war injuries. Yeah, people mock my war injuries and say my war injuries. Okay,
Because apparently his district is, pretty tightly packed with a mix of veterans and weapons manufacturers. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's saying the right things as far as, raising cash and
Right.
re-election's concerned, of course. And I'm sure trying to backpedal because a lot of right-wing people love fucking Tucker, man.
Right. But yeah, if Russell Brown would have just said one thing, like, do you think he possibly thinks that you might be, even if just, do you think that he might see you as never having met a war that you didn't want to fund? And do you think that might be it? Like,
Right.
and but yeah, he could have just broke it down real quick instead of having to talk a whole good 2-3 minutes and then finally start to well, let's talk about Ukraine and the military industrial complex and stuff like that. And it's just dude, just say that, just lead with that. Do you think it has anything to do with Ukraine and your relationship with the military industrial complex? There you go. And then he can't try and answer another part of your question. He can't try and tiptoe around it. He can't pretend that you guys are just, we're not actually talking about that. We're talking about something different, yeah. But I feel like he dropped the ball just a wee bit. I only watched the first half of it. I didn't even watch the full thing just because I saw
He's trying
Russell
to keep it
Brand.
more mainstream, man.
Yeah, he was not trying to.
Direction.
Yeah, he was not trying to make any waves at all. He was trying to be as polite and just oh, I'm so glad you're here, and I'm Russell Brand, and all this and that type
Let's
shit.
lay in the road for future big guests like that.
Right. Yeah, I understand. But like I said, that's he could have
laid it to him. Right.
Right. It's simple. Do you think it might have anything to do with your massive
Fucking warmonger
support
dude.
for funding of Ukraine and your relationship with the military industrial complex?
But you keep pointing out your injuries for war, but you want to send everyone else's children to possibly receive the same or worse.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fucking souvenirs, bro. This I built my career off of this. I want other kids to be able to have that same opportunities that I did.
Right. Fucking shitbag. And he himself, his portfolio outperforms the S&P, by 20 times or whatnot. So, he's a straight shitbag, man, all the way around.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of fucking Republicans, of course, we don't agree with, man. They're, straight pieces. As long as they're voting the way they are now, you're all right. But coming soon, they're going to quit voting with Trump. Seriously, because the midterms are coming up, and a lot of them are going to have to go more moderate, to appease certain fucking entities to win a re-election, and so you're going to see a lot of breaking.
I do think a lot of it too depends on results and statistics too, because I mean Donald Trump,
of course,
typically after a president gets elected and then they don't start delivering on their promises, or they start slow walking or this and that,
but typically they lose the midterms. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I'm saying though. Typically after election, their approval goes downward. Donald Trump, since after getting elected, his approval's only gone up. I mean,
the only thing that would suck is how we were just saying, that there's going to be pain first. If the pain can, be that short of a bubble to, either land before the midterms or, not hit the peak, the zenith of it until after, you might be okay. You know what I mean?
Yep. And then it also depends too on how much of these tariffs actually end up taking place. I mean, right now the pain is fuck, man, we don't get to fund gender studies in fucking Columbia no more. That's the pain that we're facing right now. I mean, it's not like any of these, actual tariffs have, really, really taken effect on the population or the market at large. And at the same time, I mean, basically everything that he's done has basically been saving money. None of it so far has actually been anything that's going to result in a higher cost, anything like that for the consumer. So
Yeah, and a lot of the savings haven't even come to fruition yet. Either for the simple fact that we have activist judges that are, out here pulling some fucking, some
right,
trashy moves.
right. So out there, what was it, denying SCOTUS, fucking basically denied Donald Trump's administration's request to basically hold up $2 billion of USAID funding. You want to go ahead and break that one down real quick?
I mean, from what I understand, they're saying it's for work that's already been done or completed. But, the administration's saying nothing's been done or completed. And it was supposed to be a temporary order from a lower court. And they basically refused to get involved in it, basically, letting it stand. But it was, Amy Coney Barrett votes against, Trump as seems to be an ever growing issue. That was definitely a wrong pick. And you're not going to win them all, but is saving the American taxpayer money. That's billions of dollars we're talking. That's a different situation, and especially when those entities, a lot of them have already been shut down. We've seen the videos and photos of the even the names and shit being taken off buildings to that extent. But they basically said it's a temporary stay. You have to pay it, but it's only temporary. Well, it can't be temporary because the funds will have already been transferred,
Right.
and so that money's gone to the fucking winds. And you don't want it. We're the ones saying we're trying to conserve something here. You don't want the continuation into the de-evolution into a banana republic, as far as president shirking the word of the highest courts and whatnot. But this is almost an order that's like, you need to touch it. Like, I'm not going to listen to it. Like, you guys need to take this up and actually fucking debate the situation.
Right.
And
Yeah,
the chief justice is a liberal. I don't give a fuck what anyone says, dude. Fucking Roberts is a liberal. The dude votes with them the vast majority of the time. And you got your rocks that seem to vote with the Constitution every time.
right. Well, at least one good thing, man, is you can guarantee that there's much more to come from this administration. So, dude, everything's just like I say, up and up for the most part. We didn't get no Epstein files. That's still a dead lead right there.
Wait. That right there went from, we need to redact, the victims' names to we need to redact, national fucking security, secrets and whatnot. Like for what nation? Because what in there could affect our national security?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's like I said, it's you don't want to say it's put on a show, but at the same time, that's really what it's looking like.
Definitely.
It's very reminiscent of every time they try to say, all right, guys, there's going to be a giant press briefing. We're going to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about aliens. Fuck, man. Here we go again, dude. Like, yeah, I didn't expect it from you guys, man. But
even like the JFK files, for instance, RFK, right? I mean,
yeah,
they refused to release that shit, at least in any kind of moniker of unredactation that you can actually comprehend what the fuck's being said in the damn files, right?
mhm,
So, and just about everyone's dead. And again, like, what is that going to affect? And they're running on the whole, this is a mandate. This is what the American people voted for. I mean, that type of shit disclosure was part of it. You know what I
right,
mean? And so, like, what is it gonna, as far as national security goes? Because we voted, like, let's dismantle the FBI. Let's get rid of the fucking ATF, the CIA. Fuck these people, man. You know what I'm saying?
right. To be honest, like at this point, all of the stuff that we know that the government, conspired on, all the stuff that we know that the actual, government and the people within government have done, at this point, what can you actually be putting out there that's going to make everybody go, this is a catastrophe? Like, I cannot live in this country one more day knowing that this is what happened to
I'm not paying
JFK.
taxes.
Right. Like what's so catastrophic? And at the same time, like I say, it's beyond my conception at this point. So if there is something that catastrophic that you guys have done, or even if it's not, obviously not the Trump administration or anybody within the Trump administration right now, but nonetheless that our government has done and that still capable of doing anything like that, we ought to know about it, because I mean we definitely have to fix that shit quick. Like we have to make sure shit like that doesn't happen again. We'll
Absolutely.
start putting links together. We'll start matching up. Oh, okay, well this this fucking matches up with this. Oh, this is the exact same fucking thing they did here. Like
Yeah.
start closing up those fucking those holes. And at the same time, if our country really is that bad, fuck it, to hell with them. We're fucking starting new America. Fuck these guys. Like these guys we're actually going to live out the Constitution. Like legitly. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, if it's really that bad, either one, we have to fix whatever was made that possible and whatever made it possible to sweep that under the rug for that amount of time, or fuck it, burn this motherfucker down, Pookie. Right. I honestly,
Let the carpet on fire.
I honestly can't even conceive of what what our country could have done that was so bad that it's going to result
It's
in
going to destroy the fabric,
right,
because what it is because the insurrection happened, during the fucking JFK situation. That's when the real insurrection. Well,
right.
I guess you could call it the second one because of 1913, right? But the one that absolutely changed, the trajectory of the culture, academia, the media, everything took place
Right.
at that time. Even the phrase conspiracy theorist, was incepted at that time to make you not question, the official narrative. So, I mean, it's tied to a definite thing but as far as the vast majority of it, especially anyone that came here to listen, I mean, you already know this shit. So, it's not going to change anything for us. We're just going to be like, yep, we fucking told you, dude. It's going to be, the average person that refuses to listen to any information that, goes against their beliefs, though, are the ones that are going to be fucking, oh my God, it thrills us, like,
Right.
self-immolation, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah. Oh, we already saw quite a bit of that this fucking last couple of years from the Democrats.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It'd be them same types, dude.
Right.
Out here losing their shit. They'll be the ones that'll flip out. We'll just be like, damn, that's crazy. I told you, dude.
Right.
I'm going to
Fuck,
work,
bro.
man.
All right, can't wait till somebody makes a video on that shit, man. I'm gonna watch that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, at this point, there's not really much that can, make us fucking flinch. At the same time, if there is, fucking burn this motherfucker down. This place is evil.
There's entities, right? Edifices that need to be torn down. Fucking,
Yeah.
checks and balances reinstituted and, unstifled,
Right. Where's the fucking checks and balances on these fucking shadow, FBIs and CIAs and all this and that shit? Where's their checks and balances? I don't remember them being in the Constitution,
That was the shadowy entities that, JFK told you about. Like,
Right.
RFK, is famously pointed out recently, his uncle and his dad wouldn't be welcome in today's rendition of the Democrat Party, man.
Yeah. That's why they had to kill them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, man. Anything else you want to throw in before we sign up on out of here?
Already start checking out your midterms, man. But like we said, it's on limited time if we don't make sure that the Trumpsicles keeps, the mandate for his 4-year term to actually see any kind of, reduction in, spending or balancing of the budget or anything of that, that manner. I mean,
Right.
do your work. I know it sucks that it seems like we just worked for 4 years to make the recent admin happen, right, across the board, right? But never stop, man.
Right. It's a never ending battle, man. Politics 24/7, 365, you guys.
Yeah, look at Scott Pressler out there. That guy's pressing right now for judges in Wisconsin. And he lives in Pennsylvania. You know what I mean?
Right, and he's gay. And he's a fucking fudge packer.
He's got some of the best hair, though, man.
Dude, luxurious, man. Luxurious. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video out with your friends. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. Go ahead and send us some spam in the comment section. That helps as well with the algorithms. Go ahead and drop us a like.
Man,
Follow us on
post your
social media.
bullshit Apple fucking shit.
Right. Like you promote it and shit like that. Like, all right. Anyway, links to social media in the comment or in the description below. And as always, fuck off.